Jillian's story for the 1000th time. I want to apologize, Tracy. I know we will have another shower in Connecticut, but I wish I had gone to Georgia this time. I missed my oldest daughter's first baby shower because I attended the mandatory quarterly meeting at the home office of the insurance company my agency represented in Connecticut. My father founded our firm almost 40 years ago, and I was to take the RES when he officially retired in the next couple years. And for the 1000th time, Mom, don't worry about it. The shower you're taking in 2 weeks will come soon enough. I can't wait to get back to Connecticut to see all my old friends. Tracy contacted me via video link from her home outside of Atlanta, and my husband Chris contacted me from our home in Farmington, Connecticut. I was in my Marriott hotel room in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we can't wait for you to come home, Tracy. How are the meetings going? Gillie, Chris asked me. As always, there's a lot of great material, and I've taken some key takeaway to implement over the next quarter, but I don't understand why American Insurance insists that these meetings must take place in person. The meetings could easily be held online. The cost savings to each agency would be substantial. Like most large companies, they are stuck in their ways, Tracy replied, while Chris added, American Insurance has to justify the $15 million cost of the training and conference center they built just before the COVID pandemic. What are the boys doing this weekend, and why aren't they at our weekly family meeting? I wanted to know. The boys are vacationing in a cabin in Vermont. I talked to them last night. They are with a small group of friends. They plan to climb to the top of Mount Mansfield today, Chris explained. However, being in Vermont doesn't exempt them from our weekly calls. We installed internet in the cabin over a decade ago. This is the 3rd week in a row they've neglected their family obligations. If you don't want to talk to them, I will be my guest, was Chris's quick and surprisingly sarcastic reply. Before I could say anything, Tracy stepped in and asked, Do you have anything interesting planned for tonight? Nothing exciting, was my reply. I ordered dinner in my room right before we called. It should be here soon after dinner. I go to bed for days of meetings have worn me out. Honey, I'll be off tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Assuming my flight arrives on time, I'll be back in Hartford at 3:40 and home by 5. Your itinerary's on the refrigerator. I know when you'll be home. Chris' reply made me think it was 2 sarcastic comments in a row. I didn't say anything, as Tracy was on the phone deciding to talk to Chris and sort things out after I got home. I had to go. My dinner will be delivered soon. I love you both. Tracy, will talk more during the week, and I'll pick you up at the airport in 2 weeks. Chris, I'll see you tomorrow. I only heard a see you soon from my daughter and a good night from my husband before both of their faces disappeared from my laptop screen. I'll admit I was upset when I didn't hear the I love you statements from them that had ended all previous calls until recently. Maybe I said to myself, they're just as tired as I am. Closing the computer, I got up, pulled my nightgown over my head, and threw it on the hotel bed. Then I went into the bathroom and spent a few minutes applying the minimum amount of makeup at my age of 49, with shoulder-length blonde hair and blue eyes. Most men would find me a very attractive woman. Chris calls me a 10 all the time, but after 27 years of marriage, he rather feels compelled to say it. I probably would have been given a 9 the year we met at the University of Connecticut, in my last year of college and 3rd year of law school, but age creeps up, and now I would rate myself a solid 8 out of 10 and a sexy cougar. Standing naked in front of the full-length mirror, I pulled the ribbon out of my hair and let it cascade down my neck. After brushing my curls with my fingers and shaking my head, my hair looked perfect. I decided to wear a wonderful little black dress. It accentuates my 38D breasts and heart-shaped ass. My curves look amazing as the dress skims my hips and falls off 3 inches above my knees, and it goes without saying, I'll be PANTYLESSS. The only forced solution is a B bra. My partner wants me to go natural, but girls have started sagging. I think the black sexy see-through Victoria's Secret bra I bought especially for tonight will do very well. A few minutes later, I walk into the hotel restaurant with a smile and notice several male heads turning in my direction. I see Ted at a corner table standing at a window that offers a view from the hotel's 11th floor of downtown Charlotte. Ted's smile turns into a beaming grin as I slip between the tables heading in his direction. Ted Gleason was the son of the owner of the insurance agency that controlled the Cincinnati, Ohio market. We met 9 years ago at one of the quarterly corporate meetings and became friends. 2 years later, I slept with him, and we became bedmates and had sex at every quarterly meeting since. Ted is married and has 5 kids, all teenagers like me. He is on his way to taking over his father's agency when he retires. Ted is not bigger, prettier, or smarter than my husband. He's just 12 years younger than Chris and much quicker to recover, so we can have me again without wasting time making love. He had a vasectomy after my youngest son was born, which allows me to have sex with him without condoms. Ted stood up as I approached the table, kissed me on the cheek, and held my chair for me as I sat down. "Everything okay at home?" he asked. I'm a little bed that the guys weren't on our general call, and Chris was a little testy, but overall, it's fine. Tracy had a good baby shower, and she'll be coming home in 2 weeks for a shower of Harrington family and friends. "How is your family doing?" Ted came out of my room to give me privacy for the call, and he called his family from a quiet part of the hotel lobby. "All the kids are fine, and I'm glad I'll be home tomorrow." Leanne was in a bad mood, but I think she was just tired from taking care of the kids. When he finished, Ted nodded toward the red wine glass in front of me, raised his own, and said with a mischievous grin, "Here's to another great conference." As our glasses set, a third chair was placed at our table directly to my right. Looking up, I was so surprised at who I saw that the words just jumbled in my brain. Once seated, she said, "Hello, slut, how was your room service dinner?" "Tracy." Yes, it was a question, even though I was looking at my pregnant daughter's face. "Tracy." I exhaled again. "What the hell are you doing here?" Her smile couldn't have been more contemptuous when she answered. "I didn't believe Daddy when he told us you were a lying, cheating hoe. I had to come and see for myself." "Tracy, honey, it's not what you think." I forced my heart to slow down and tried to focus on regaining my powers. "Okay, slut, let me tell you what I think. Let's see if I'm wrong. I think all you did was lie during your 38-minute conversation with your family. I think you sleep with that shit stain." She pointed at Ted, "at every one of your quarterly conferences. I think you crushed Dad. I think you alienated your family. I think your parents would be ashamed to call you their daughter, and I think the chances of Grandpa's firm passing to you have been flushed down the toilet." As the tornado in my head reached the 5th grade level, Ted quickly stood up and announced, "This is a family matter. I apologize and leave so you can deal with this situation in private." I didn't realize the situation could get any worse until Tracy smiled and said, "I think a genius like you is going to want to sit down, shut up, and find out what kind of shitstorm he's facing when he gets home to Leanne tomorrow." All the color left Ted's face. He's white as chalk. I'm not sure if he sat up or collapsed into a chair. Tracy turned to me and asked, "Is that what you like about that shit stain? Is he a submissive asshole who does whatever he's told?" The color quickly returned to Ted's face, which had turned a tomato red at Tracy's insult. He pulled himself up, grabbed the table, and looked like he was going to lunge at Tracy. Tracy just laughed and said, "Come on, shit stain, touch one finger to my body, 7 months pregnant, and go to jail." Ted immediately calmed down and regained his self-control, and Tracy continued, "Please order me a glass of wine." "Shifts, stain, it won't take long." Tracy shifted in her chair and turned toward me, crossed her legs, and folded her arms and placed them in her lap, then continued, "I'd like to explain a few things to you, Mom. The reason my brothers have not been at the last few family calls is because they believed Dad and realized you were a lying hoe. I don't know who cried harder that night when Daddy talked to us and told us about what you did. Jimmy, Johnny, and Daddy were sobbing at the end of the conversation. The only reason I didn't cry was because I was sure it was a huge mistake. The private investigator's report didn't convince me Dad wouldn't show pictures or video, so I had to spend money I couldn't afford on plane tickets, a hotel room, and other necessary expenses to come here and see for myself. Tracy. Baby. I don't know what your father thinks he knows, but… Tracy's hand flew upward like a policeman stopping traffic. Don't you get it? Dad has proof. He has pictures and video from your hotel room. He has proof that my mother is a liar. He has proof that my mother is a liar. He has proof that my mother is another man's swoo. With far more confidence than I felt, and with just as much false bravado, I hissed, we will work as a